Hey, welcome to the Autopsy of Unwise Choices, a journey we're going to take into the crossroads of life and the consequences that follows. I'm your host, P.D. Ware, bringing you nearly 2 decades of experience from the deaf industry. Each episode, we will dissect the real-life stories and peel back the layers of decisions that have been leading our youth to unfortunate ends. Our mission, to illuminate the path of wiser choices for our youth. So let's embark on this journey together, because every choice tells a story. Are you ready to listen? Hey, welcome to the Autopsy of Unwise Choices. I'm your host, P.D. Ware, and thank you all so much for tuning in to episode 6. Today's episode is In the Mortician's Chair, part 2. And so we're going to talk about one of the second most questions I get often as a mortician. And that is, how do you cope with what you see on a regular basis? I would say, for me personally, and this is just my personal experience, I felt called into the deaf industry. And so I don't have a fear of death. And death has never bothered me in the way that it may some, but I have found that what bothers me is seeing potential that'll never be manifested for what it was intended. And so the way that I cope with that is to make sure that I am mentally, emotionally, and most of all, spiritually sound. So I actively read my Bible. I am uh, stay plugged into my local church family. I'm very big on fitness. I work out. And one of the things that most people probably be shocked, I love comedy. So I love to laugh. In the industry, there are majority of the size of it that's not something that you laugh about. But I am a human being. I do have feelings. I don't get emotional. I feel a strong sense of obligation and duty to be the best that I can be, to serve at the greatest capacity that I can serve at. And so I make sure on a regular basis that I am nurturing all of those areas that are very important and very vital for me to operate at the highest level. And that's needed. And one of the things that I will say is that the more and more young people that I see, the more I have to make sure that I'm vested in taking care of me, because I want to be around long enough to see the change and to be a part of the change, to do what I'm supposed to do to facilitate the change in my lane in what I'm doing, and making sure that I'm well enough to be able to, go the full journey of transforming our youth decision making, because it's not going to be an overnight process. When you're talking about reversing a lot of the effects, you have to look at the compounding of all of the decisions that have been made. And those are the things that we have to unravel and dissect. And so I'm here for the long haul. I don't see it being a problem. I think all of the years that I've spent in the industry have prepared me for this next chapter that I'm in life, when it comes to working with our youth and sharing the experiences that I have, to provide them with all of the as much informative information as I can, because a lot of times I have to tell kids, death is nothing like TV. And, we have these shows that have been created, and some are so far from the truth. And I'm not a big TV watcher. I don't watch much TV. And if I watch something, it's typically specific shows. So if you want to know what I watch, you have to ask me. So shoot me a message, a direct message, and find out. But one of the cool things that we're gonna do in the upcoming episodes, we are going to one have a live episode where you all will get to come on, you get to ask me specific questions, and then we're gonna have some youth on here that have gone through some challenges to share how they overcome those challenges and how they are making a difference in their communities now in their efforts to keep kids on the right track. So I'm excited about that in the upcoming episode. So in the month of May, we are going to, shift to doing some lives and to also hear from some of our kids and what they're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and them giving us the opportunity to hear from them how we can better serve them in transforming their decision making and making sure that they have the tools that they need to be successful each and every day. One of my favorite quotes is that motivation doesn't last always, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it daily. And so I am of the mindset that we do have to pour into our kids daily. It's just like the daily habits this should be like clockwork, brushing your teeth morning and night, washing your face, bathing, all of those things that you would do on a consistent basis. Because if we don't bathe, there's an odor that comes with that. Same thing with not brushing our teeth, that causes, problems in our life. And so we have to remember that certain things that we need to do, and our kids need that so much more now, to know that they matter, to know that they are here for a reason. And we have to be in a position where we can not only provide them with environments that's going to be conducive for them to grow, but also provide the tools and the resources for them to do so as well. And not just expect them to kind of figure it out. And so many are learning things from social media and being pulled into these negative places by these negative forces, and it's causing so much demise. Now you tell me if you think that it's normal that we should be going to funerals as often as families are having to go to funerals with babies laying in caskets. I wait. It's not. That baby face, those little baby cheeks. You can't hear that voice anymore. At some point, we have to make a decision that we're going to be the change and the catalyst, no matter how long it takes, that we won't give up. The title of the podcast is The Autopsy of Unwise Choices. We have to do some major examination in our lives. We have to look ourselves in the mirror. And one of my favorite motivational speaker, Dr. Eric Thomas, it says the inability to self-assess is a problem for most people, because when we stand in that mirror, when we take an inventory of our life, we'll see that a lot of stuff we ain't pleased with. But it's not too late for us to make better choices ourselves. Because guess what? As adults, the better choices we make, the better choices we create for our life. So if we make better choices, we have to be the change in our own home. And I heard so many times out when I'm on my speaking engagements and talking to the kids, and people saying, what do you feel like is going to be the catalyst? And hearing people say, it starts at home. And it does. Train up a child. And we know that kids, we were kids before too. These are different times that kids are living in now. They have so much more access to things, and lack of monitoring, and some things that they are being exposed to far too early. There are things that are within their reach that are detrimental to them. And by the time they find out, it's too late. It's been too late for many of our babies. Are you going to be the one that's going to stand up and be bold and make the decision in your family that you're going to be the catalyst for change, that you're going to be bold enough and be committed enough, that you're going to join in and transform the kids that's in your life, their decision making, so that they can have prosperous opportunities as they continue to move towards adulthood? Let's do something more every single day. Take a community. It's going to take all of us to turn this ship around because we're moving towards falling off the cliff to a point of no return. And I'm committed. I'm in it for the long haul. And I want to make sure that I'm healthy enough to walk this journey and to see the fruits, the labor that we put in, to seeing so many more of our kids thrive, to see fewer headlines in our local news about more kids dying, more kids robbing, carjacking, vandalizing, and parents at home, their kids unaccounted for. Midnight, 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't sleep as a parent, knowing my child was out that time of night. And that's stress on families. And stress kills. It's not an easy thing to deal with. And so ask yourself as a parent and be honest. If you know that you're not doing what you need to do, you have not, that you've contributed to the problem, don't hide. Step up and do something. Our kids are more than just pictures on t-shirts with rest in peace on. Pay all that money for shirts, $25, $30, $40. But we don't have funds to bury our kids. But we're not training them up. And we want people to feel sorry for us. You got people out here that are truly losing their kids that have been pointed to their kids, but because of a bad decision that somebody else's kids made, they no longer have their lives. The kids that recognize their potential, that's doing the right things every day, that's showing up, that's making a difference, that's being accountable, that's enjoying being a kid and not trying to be an adult, not being forced to be an adult and to make adult decisions, and their life gets snatched away from them. And not just them, the community and the ability to be able to make a contribution with their gift. You got to do better as parents, and that's me included. I'm not exempt from being an example. I have an obligation as a parent to train up my child to make sure that he is a viable citizen in the community in which he lives and in any community that he travels. Providing him with the necessary resources and making sure that I'm putting myself in a position to do so. That is a responsibility as a parent. And it's going to take struggle. It takes sacrifice, but we should want our kids to be better, to go further than what we got. And be okay with that if that's what you're doing. There's nothing wrong with that, putting your kids in a position to win. Some of our parents struggle for years, and we have an opportunity to do something different, to be a witness to something greater. And we make excuses. We buy t-shirts and we don't have graves to put kids in if something does happen. And we want people to do favors. Nobody's obligated. The obligation must first start with you. Because if people see that you invested and you vested in what happens, then you don't even have to ask for help. It's a given. Tired of seeing the headlines every day. More choices. It's just bad decision after bad decision. Carjacking. They just have, they don't care. They don't care if they run you over. They don't care if you never wake up. They don't care if they don't wake up. And they don't even know that they're not going to wake up, some of them. That's disturbing in a major way. So my challenge to you again, if you're a parent, coach, educator in the field of education, work with youth, if there is a kid that's been in your life that you can pour into positively, that's my challenge for you to do so. Find something creative that you can do that's going to keep their mind that, hey, it's okay for me to make better choices. I don't have to do what everybody else is doing. I'm okay and I'm comfortable with being my true and authentic self. I can make it because somebody cares about me. Somebody actually cares that I'm in this world. Somebody wants to see me do great. Let's pour into our kids like never before because there's so many things that's distracting them and that's causing them to fall by the wayside. And it must start with us. And so I'm committed to making sure that I'm healthy in order to be able to go through this journey that I'm on. Because I'm not going to stop. And I hope that you don't either. Thanks again for tuning in. Be blessed.
Thank you so much for joining the Autopsy Unwise Choices, where today's stories are more than just cautionary tales. They're beacons guiding our youth towards better decisions. And remember, the choices that they make today shape their tomorrows. So if today's episode moved you in any way, then share it with someone who needs to hear these lessons. Follow us at pdwhereinspires.com to check out the weekly blog, book speaking engagements, and check out dates for upcoming live events. And remember, until next time, encourage our youth to make choices that pave the way for brighter futures.